So we just rigged up. I'm just going to fire some sweet corn over the area. It's just got here in the morning, so there's no hurry because it's been coldish overnight, so it usually takes a few hours for things to warm up a little bit for the fish start moving, so there's no hurry to rush around. This green giant sweet corn is absolutely phenomenal. And you got to smell it, so sweet, there's so much salt in it, and it's a lot more expensive than the other ones. And I would usually say just any old sweet corn will do, but I've tried the more budget ones, and there's just they're so bland. Might not make too much difference if there's a lot of fish about, but there's something about these green giant ones. There's just so much. They're so sweet. There's so much sodium in them. I think that's an added bonus. I really do. I always find fishing your baits over a carpet of these. I don't really buy a lot of ground bait or anything like that, but I'd use this as my ground bait. Works for me anyway. So it's very quiet, very quiet. I'm speaking quietly because there's a few other people on the lake, and you know, probably been sleeping the night before. But it's a nice day. It's got a bit warmer now. So we're fishing these boilies. There was some sweet corn in there. These are the boilies. Look. The sauce, 15mm. I've got 2 on. It says here, secret flavour blend. Amino acids. Shelf life. Dynamite. I think they're reasonable ones. Some other ones there, but these are a few years old now and they're starting to go a little bit hard, so I'm just, they're fishmeal boilies as well, so I'm just chucking them in as a bit of a, what's going on, I must have nudged the rod then. So what I'm doing, I'm fishing a like a silicone tube to a lead, to a bolt rig, and I think it's important how you present that. If you have the lines too tight, you could argue the silicone bit is going to angle up and lift up a little bit and might spook the fish because that's going to be very near the bait. So what I've done, I've sort of just, the lines are very loose. So hopefully the line is just more sagged and sitting. In the day it's a bolt rig, so they're picking the bait up and they're getting snared straight away. So You ain't even got to strike too hard or anything like that. If they tear off with it, I just literally just put my hand around the line or the reel and just lift into it and just hold it, and then you feel the rod and setting the hooks even more, so to speak. But when the fish moves off with the bolt rig, that's got to prick in pretty good. So I've just been firing sweetcorn out in the area there, not too much, about half a tin between there and this area here. I find with sweetcorn and carp, it don't really matter how much of it you put in. It's very small. The odd little roach and rod's going to nick it as well. Tench and bream. But I don't think there's too much of them in here. They will be in here, but not in stocked numbers. This is mainly just carp in here. There's a few pike in here apparently. So there's got to be a few roach in here for them, isn't there? So as for hook baits, boilies, I've fired in, bearing in mind I don't know what's been happening here in the past week, how many people have been fishing it, how many people have been chucking gear in. I've always generally don't put in bugger all really. I've just put in a couple upstream of it and downstream of it, I'll call it, just to sort of get that scent sort of going in the area. Now this particular spot, there's a big area of lake just around in here, and there's a big area of lake around this area here, and this is known as the channel swim. So my theory is that during the course of a day or a night or whatever, I think carp between the two different sides of the lake, I think they generally wander and migrate anyway, and I think they've got to come through here. So this far margin is a hot spot, and this side of the margin is a hot spot too. The centre of the lake, the centre of this channel, is probably just as good to put a bait there as well. It doesn't really make a lot of difference. So then it's down to how you present the bait. I always like to sort of rebait it after a couple of hours. I know a lot of people just leave it out there, but if the bait isn't presented properly, i.e. it's tangled around a twig, or it's just tangled in any shape or form, by checking every hour or two, you mitigate that, and I don't think you're really losing anything like winding one rod in, spending 5 minutes on the bank, just re-putting a fresh one on and casting it out into exactly the same spot. You're only losing 5 minutes, and if you've got another rod out fishing anyway, well, you're not losing the chance of a fish, you know. So I think that's important. Sometimes when you you don't give a shit and you leave it out for long periods of time, you wind it in and that's all tangled, and you think, oh Christ, well, I probably wasn't even, I had no chance of hooking anything in the first place. So this is April, and it's a lot warmer at night and in the evening than what it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But still, from experience, I don't really get the first sort of runs till late morning. So, although the fishery opens at 7, and I'm here mainly to beat the traffic and things like that, it's quite an expensive day ticket. It's £15. Well, it's probably the norm anyway. So I just find this. I'm not in a great hurry. So I've still got a few hours yet until that sort of time. So for me, if I get a fish any time before that, that's just a bonus. But really, once it gets to about 11 o'clock, I'm sort of getting a bit itchy, thinking, well, I should be getting a run now. So that's when I want to start checking and trying and doing different things. Sun's out today as well, so should warm things up a little bit before. I was here 3 weeks ago, and the water was absolutely freezing. There's some other guys fishing here as well, and they'd had bugger all. One chap had some at night, and I sat here, and I even said to one of the guys who came over and sort of said hello, I said to him, I said, I don't think I'll get one today. That's just, the water's too cold. It just doesn't feel right. And I sat here, resigned to the fact that I wasn't going to get anything, and one last ditched effort I sort of said, well, if the water's cold, the scent trail isn't probably sort of doing a lot or anything, so I whacked 2 boilies on in a sort of an attempt just to try and get a bit more scent out there. And with it still being very cold, I didn't want to chuck a lot of bait out, so I just put 2 on. In a couple of hours I managed to get one. I had one about 12-13 pound on a day when I'd given up really. I'd sort of, and that purely don't the coldness. Someone said to me, I mean, you heard in the tackle shop today, this morning, I heard someone else talk, and he said they've been coming out at night, but that's what they said. That's what they were saying a few weeks back. I can't think why they want to. When it's cold, and it's not, you know. But if I wasn't fishing in this spot, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence anywhere else. I've only ever caught one other carp, but just in a different swim. I've only got confidence. You sort of build your confidence up in a certain spot. You could get the lake record from this spot as you could do anyway. Do you know what I mean? Record is eight runs. I had 8 runs one day. 8 runs from here on a 15 quid day ticket. Two were 20, 2 were over £20, and the rest were double figure. Well, one might have been slightly under £10, but all on a fishmeal boilie. There's pike in here. There's pike in here. I mean, I've got my own boat. I mean, I've got my own places where I go pike fishing in the boat. In here, you get a big pike from somewhere like this. This used to be a trout fishery, but for them to be a good pike, a 20-pounder in here. There's the food source needs to be in here. I don't think that's in here, the food source. I think you get a few 4 or 5 pound sort of pike in here. It's nothing very big at all. Not worth pissing around after, really. With the pike, you've got to be somewhere where there's where the food source is there. Reservoir, somewhere like that, where a lot of trout have been put in, thousands and thousands of trout are put in, somewhere like that. It's where you get a big pike, over £30, something like that. There's some good river systems around here, but the otters, cormorants and things have screwed it all over. There's big pike in there, but not in the numbers they were. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. You get a double figure one, easy, but not a 20. 20s, they're hard to get now. They're hard to get. Right, I'll let you know if I get one. Had to dip the net, and the landing net as well. The mat. Now a bit about this landing net here, it's got a float on it. That is a 42 inch, I believe. There. And I've just, it's an extendable pole one, it's extended, and I've extended it out a bit extra because a lot of the time you can, I find, these are barbless hooks, you can lose a carp close in. I find if you're on your own, they have a tendency to sort of just to stay out there a bit when they could be netted, and I think sometimes that's where you could lose one. And I think just if you've got a slightly longer landing net pole, if you've got a float on it, it can stay out there and you can net them a bit further out and make, you know, and you can get it over and done with just that few moments, 30 seconds sooner. That's where if you drag it out, if you wait until you get them right in, especially on a shorter rod like this, you know, I mean, in theory that should make it easier to bring the carp in than a 12-foot rod. But I find that's something I sort of do with tench, and have a longer net. I've just done it with carp. So he looks like he's, no, is he? Yeah, he's still there. Thought he's packing up. So yeah. Oh, one thing about netting fish and carp and things like that, fish are very, very wary of the net. I would show them the net right at the very last minute. That's just from my experience. I find if you put the net out there where the fish is, saying come on, hurry up, I want to net you, so to speak, he can see it and he's scared of it, and it panics him even more. I would bring the net, I'd leave the net close in on floating, and then when you think he's ready and he comes to the surface and he turns his back and he's there for the taking, really, that's when you bring the net from a distance to him. Don't have the net sitting out with him. In a way, that's an extension of him being wary of you netting him at the bank, so to speak. So you want to do it all at the last minute. Have it there ready, sitting there, wait until he's ready. When you can see he's ready, then you bring the net to him, because they seem to keep, if you bring the net to them straight away, they seem to see it and tear off. They're scared of it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to surprise them. And barbless hooks, you know, you can, especially if you're tangled around something. If you're tangled around another rod, or your line's just got caught around some reeds or something like that, anything where that barbless hook, lilies, anything like that, where that barbless hook gets an opportunity just to turn up the other way, and with the fish shaking his head, that's enough. Another bit of line wrapped around, a bit of reed, anything like that. So I find if you get yourself in that situation, you know, you just muddle through. You're either going to lose it or you're not, but generally try and net them as quickly as possible. Yeah. So it's oh so quiet. Oh so quiet. This rod here is a pike rod. Well, no, it's a specialist rod, that one. 2.25, and this is a pike rod, boat rod, 2 3/4. Very light, very light. Obviously these aren't big pit reels, these are just standard sort of like a spinning reel, but in these sort of close quarters, sort of nothing more you need. Nice and light, minimal gear. Do you know what I'm saying? Bugger all. Warm clothing, plenty of sweets and drink and things like that. In and out. It's nice. Day ticket carping, nice. I was thinking about doing that, going to that Jurassic Mountain Resort in Thailand, because they offer that as a package, a weekly package. And I just think if you want a sort of a holiday to unwind and get away, especially when it's like January, February, March, something like that, I can't think of anywhere better to go, really. If you just went for a week, because that's close to Bangkok. That's only probably about a 3.5 hour bus drive to the resort. You get your own sort of hotel sort of room. You get a breakfast thrown in. I don't think evening meals and drinks are included, but You get a bait allowance. You get all the fishing tackles provided, and I just think it'd be. I think the price was about. How much was it? 1,200 for the week, I think, for 5 days fishing and 6 nights accommodation. And obviously you've got your flights. Your flights just depends what you can get. So you're looking at about £2 grand, and then obviously spending money on top of that. I didn't think that was too bad. Sport Quest were offering. Hang on a minute, I'll catch you in a minute. Yeah, no, I said this chap just started walking up on the swim, so I just thought. Over there, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He didn't bother saying hello. Now, Sport Quest were doing the same holiday for, or a similar holiday, not the same place, a similar sort of thing. 9 days, but fishing for us for about 5 days, something like that. It wasn't too dissimilar, but they were like about £3 grand. And I just thought that's a lot cheaper. The key with that is that it's close to Bangkok. The Jurassic Mountain one, it's close to Bangkok, and it's it'd be, you know, so you fly off the plane. You know, you'll be quite quickly getting to your resort, and it's the fishing hours are from 7 in the morning till I think 6. You can have your breakfast by the lake or whatever. All different types of fish. All those alligator gar, all that sort of stuff. Everything there, and you got guides are there on the lake, and they unhook they net the fish for you, do all that sort of thing. So I cannot think of anywhere, especially January, February, March, anywhere more better to go really for the price, for being hot, you know. I can't see it being any sort of even if you just went for a week. I mean, that, you know, in Thailand's the sort of place where you want to go for about a month really, just wandering around. But if you're busy with work commitments and stuff like that, and you just, you know, but it'd be a nice, very nice, relaxing holiday. That's for sure. It's just past. It's now just gone 11. There's definitely a few more fish been moving the past half an hour. It's just starting to warm up a bit. So I'm not too far away from the rods, but I'm just in this area here where these reeds are. Sometimes you can see the reeds banging around like this, and I've got Polaroids on. Without the Polaroids you wouldn't see them, but there's been actually a few carp just in this dark reed, just banging around in here. I can't see any there at the minute. I saw 5 carp on the surface. I've got my alarms on, so my little bridge here. Look at this, look. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Can't see any fish in there. Saw one earlier on. I saw there's a mirror carp just down here, so if I hide behind this tree, see if he's still there. He's just down in here. If I don't have my Polaroids on, I definitely wouldn't have a chance. So you can just see the water stirring and boiling. Can you see that? So I come here, he must be down there. Can you see that? Look at the water, look the way it stirs. Where he's on the bottom there, and he's just trying to. What worse? He's plumbing the bolt pit down there. I can't see him. They were in here. I can't see him. Sometimes you can just see the reed shoots just move quite suddenly. There you are, some bubbles there, look. I know he's down there because I see the water bloody banging around. just trying to work out how many carp were in this lake. I mean, I'd have to ask the bailiff when he comes round, but I mean, I heard a beep then. I mean, there's got to be definitely 50 carp in here. There may even be 75. There could be 100. I don't know. I would imagine there's probably 10 in here over £20. There's probably 5 in here which are probably above 30, and the rest are sort of double figure and a few small ones. There seem to be quite a few big ones in here, but they seem to be, I don't know, it's strange. They don't seem, there's 5 on the surface. They went this way, in a shoal, and they headed off, went round there. There's been a couple banging around down here. A couple banging around down there. There's only me and another chap fishing along here. There's a mole banging around down here. Just can't see. And this one's just tight in this side area here. It's following a similar sort of pattern. Oh, he's packing his bivvy up. I don't think he'll be there too much longer. That chap looks like he's had enough. Bivvy and everything, he's there last night. He's fucking had enough of it. There's a little bit of crap in the swim. It points towards there's been a few people sort of banging around here the Easter weekend. People going carp fishing. Probably not a bad bet, really, but I don't know. I didn't think it was that warm over East. It's warmer today. I'm just trying to think, was that easterly wind's been bloody freezing. Yeah, so I sort of, I'm really fussy with my conditions. I only like to go when I think that's. I've been fishing so many trips that's just like, when it comes right on certain conditions. It's like, you know, sea fishing, it's the tides usually, you know, moon phases, all these things. Freshwater fishing, whether there's enough warmth there. I've had this conversation before. What separates a really good angler is being able to catch when not many people can catch. That's the difference. That's what separates them. But I'm like, why bother going those conditions anyway? Do you know what I mean? Just go when you think that's going to be on fire, you know. But I'll be brutally honest. That's like a lot of my sort of satisfaction comes out of just being down here, just relaxing and just sort of, if I don't catch anything, I don't catch anything, you know. If I've done everything in my power and knowledge, using all what I know, and if I haven't caught anything, then I don't put it down to me. I put it down to the conditions, something outside of my control, so I don't get too beat up about it. But if you put yourself fishing when the conditions aren't that favourable, and you sort of know it, or you've got a half inkling that it's a bit like that, and you've just gone fishing because you wanted to go fishing, then if you fail, you've got to expect it. Do you know what I'm saying? I know with work and commitments, you book a holiday off and you've got that time and that window to go, and that window's either bang on perfect and you do really well, or there's a massive low pressure system comes over and you just have to fish it anyway. Been there. But yeah, it makes it very difficult, really, to do any good. It's all about the weather. about the weather. But I know we ain't had one yet, and I've been fishing since about 8 o'clock. It's now just about 11, so it's been 3 hours. But I'm not panicking. The target is 1 fish. That's how I approach it, before 6 PM. And I think I've got in this spot, I think I've got a good chance. If he buggers off, that means I'm the only person on the lake. So, but really, I'm expecting something to happen. Really, any time from now until close, really. That's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Exhausted. This one fought like a trooper. Look at that, that's a nice one. 10 or 12 pound. Look at it. It's gorgeous. Yeah, the old bloodworm boilies, that. There. That's what we got it on. Look at you. Look at you. Just trying. Something like that. Improvise. Oh shit. Let's try that. Oh, beautiful carp. That's about 12. I don't know how big he is. Oh yeah. Nice. Nice carp. I'd say he's about 12 pound, 13 pound. Right, let's put him back. That's a beautiful fish. That's beautiful. Isn't he beautiful? Cool, yeah. Absolutely beautiful. Right. Let's put him back as best we can. Oh. Right. Oh. Where'd you go? Nice fish. Perfect. Oh, he fought quite hard, he did. Fucking hell. That was a double. Double. Oh, 16. Oh, bloodworm. Oh, God, fucking hell. Right, let's get it out again. It's far bank. Lose my bloody phone. Yeah, we just repeat the process. Now there's a timer just come on here. Now that fish sort of coincided. I'd say just that wasn't on when the fish was on. So now there's a timer. That aerator's on there now. Let's see what that will do. Whether that'll improve things. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. Beauty of this fishing, you can just sort of shut your eyes and just have a little nap and an alarm will wake you up. So, yeah, just sort of weighing it up and just sort of the whole lake to myself. yeah, it's nice like this. When the sun's out though, I can't emphasize enough, I feel a lot happier putting baits in the dark water. Like the sun's here and these trees here, just providing a few metres of like shaded water, very dark water, where this side's very lit up. I find much better to put your baits in the dark water. In a hot summer's day, just always put your baits in that dark water. Increases your chances. So yeah, the water clarity is quite murky, but you can just see the lilies down there. So there's a little bit of clarity there. You can buy carp flies. You can buy online float fish for them. Yes, you could use bread, you can use pedigree chum mixers or something like that, but you do have an issue with geese and ducks and things here. You chuck stuff out and that just gets eaten. They generally are a bit more wary of a float, a carp controller with it. They sort of, you just have to keep an eye on it. But I just think with a real subtle little dark insect sort of floating lure, you might be able to tempt one off the surface like that. But I've seen when I first got down here some carp in a shoal. They weren't huge fish, but it'd be nice to get a real good one. There is some good ones in this lake. It's called a Specimen water, so there is some decent ones in here. Is our luck going to be in? We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, I'm just trying to tidy up my mud off my knee there. It's coming. Look at that, that's coming. It's a coming. Right, another nice fish. Look at that. Beautiful. Right, so, oh dear, it's very difficult. Bloody fucker. Right. There we go. Nice carp. Oh yeah. That's a nice fish. I'm pleased with that. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's put him back. There you go. Let you go, my man. Oh, he's about 14, I'd say. Oh, I like that. Oh. Oh. Jesus. Oh, God almighty. Fucking mess. A nice mirror cup. Probably about £10, something like that. Nice. And there's food cup now starting to show. Very nice too. Very nice too. Oh. Oh yeah, lovely. Oh. Oh yeah. Nice cup there. Oh. Yeah. Similar sort of size really. Lovely fish. Lovely. Pleased with that. Lovely, 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 lovely. Let's put him back. Right, let's put him back. Sick of getting caught, don't we? Oh. That's number 3. I can't grumble at that. Oh, fuck me. I've just gone out there, literally, that bait. I'll chuck that one out again. Could be a 20. Could be a 20. Could be a 20. This one here, that's a nice one, that is. Fought differently. That's a beauty, that is. Okay. Right. What have we got here then? So we got. I'd say he's getting on for 20. This one. Oh. I get on for £20. Oh. Oh. So he's getting on for 20. This one. Look at that. That's a nice one. Nice fish. I'd say it's about £20 that one. Right, let's put him back. We've had our fun. Right. Good fish. Let's put him back. Right. He's away. He's away. Fish number 4. Jesus Christ. Oh. No, I haven't actually got bait in the water because we just missed a strike. What about that? Carp number 5. I'd say he's £20. Getting on for that. Look at his guts, look. Look at that. I'd say he's getting on for 20. Sauce boilie. Believe it, would you? Well, I would. I would believe it. I would believe it. Oh. It's going right in his. Nearly got it. That's out. That's out. He says thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. And let's just hold him up. There you look. Beautiful. Another one there. Fantastic. Beautiful little carp. I say little, I'd say he's about £18, something like that, £20 probably. I don't really know. I don't really know. Nice to see. Nice to see. I dropped to know how big he is really. He's definitely sort of, I'd say £16, something like that maybe. Drop to note, stay there pal, stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Fish number 6. Fish number 6. Here it is. There's the hook. Let's whack it on there. Oh. Let's see if I can hold this fish up. That's about a fish of about £10, I'd say. 10, maybe 12, I don't know. Nice fish. Yeah. Beautiful. Oh. Yeah, I'd say he's about 12 or so, I'd imagine. There. Right, let's put him back. Oh. Right, so that was fish 6. The baits aren't out there very long at all. They're out there about quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, and then bang. Now we had a take on that, I believe, as we were playing the other fish. So we're going to investigate that as well. So it's just a bit of a time for a reflection, really. So here we are. So this morning I turned up with sort of, you know, don't really know what to expect really, and there's just one guy fishing here before I got here. He had a bivvy over there, and he packed up about 11 o'clock, half 11, something like that, and he came across and asked if I'd caught anything. I said no. I've been here since I started fishing about 8 o'clock, something like that. And he said this place was full yesterday, and there's a chap fishing over here next to where I am now. He said he put in over 20 kg of bait. I was like, okay. And he said that's why he'd moved up this end. Anyway, he hadn't caught anything and he'd gone, and he went, no one else had caught anything yesterday. Anyway, we've had a fish at 12 o'clock. I'd say it's about 12, 13 pounds, something like that. And the next fish came at about 2:45, and that was a similar sort of fish. And then about 3 o'clock straight away we had a common, the first mirror carp. That was about £10, something like that, I would say. Then there was a break for an hour till about 4 o'clock, and I had one, I think, about £20, a common. And another fish after that came within about 10 or 15 minutes. All on the sauce boilies, Dynamite the sauce boilies, and that was a similar sort of fish, similar sort of stamp of fish. And to finish it off, and we've still got 45 minutes to go until it's closed, we just had another mirror carp, I believe, and that was about £10, £9, £10, £11, something like that. So all in all, pretty good, considering I sat here after listening to what he was telling me. I was like thinking, shit, should I move swims? There was all that sort of going through my mind, you know, how do we salvage what we've got ourselves into? But the only thing I can say what's happened is, like, it's the temperature throughout the afternoon has increased. No one else is here. Whether he did put 20 kg of bait there, I do not know. Carp like to gobble food anyway, so they put you off too much. I put it down to more that there's no one else fishing on this lake. place to myself. It's warmed up a lot in the afternoon. There is a band, I believe, of high pressure over us today, which I think helps. The water's always murky here anyway. It's just the fishery, it's the way it is. I think it's pretty good. I'm not putting too much bait in myself, only just the hook bait, just these 15mm source boilies. Just fishing a bolt rig, 10-foot style sort of rods. I'm fishing to the far bank. That's where it recommends online, fish the far bank. So apart from that, it's more to do with those factors really. I'm tempted to come tomorrow actually, if the fishing's that good. You know, I fished here 3 weeks ago, and I had one, yeah, 3 weeks ago tomorrow, and I just had one carp, but the water was freezing. It was really cold, and that fish didn't come till 3 o'clock. And I sat here chatting to 1 or 2 of the other anglers, and I said to them, I said, look, I'd be very, very surprised if I get a fish here today. That's what I was saying to them, and they not caught anything either. So that's pretty much it really. It's the same sort of, where are we now? April the 22nd, is it? Something like that. It's just where it's just starting to heat up a little bit more, and it's becoming a good time to go. It's a good time to go. If you can get this to coincide with some big pull of the moon as well, I think that doesn't hurt for this sort of thing. But they like the fishmeal boilies, these sauce boilies, they really do. And you smell them, and they've had the heat on them a little bit in there today, and they're almost like greasy, and they're really pungent, sort of toxic, almost sort of fishmeal sort of scent there. And a lot of the fish, there's literally, the bait's been out there literally just for like just a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, bang, straight away. It's another thing I like to do. I every hour or two I'll check my rigs to make sure they're not tangled, or there's a fresh bait on there. I think that's important. As if you're almost feeder fishing, do you know what I'm saying? Where you're constantly rebaiting and checking and stuff like that. I know that's not you know, a lot of carp anglers, you sort of see them, they lob it out and leave it, and that's it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, so this is, you could call this a bit alpine style. But yeah, all in all, that's been a brilliant day. That's been worth the money. Like you say, you know, over the years you come and do this sort of thing, and you wonder why you haven't caught one or something like that. But one thing I will say about this fishery, it is a good fishery. It's well managed. There's plenty of fish in here. That's the other thing. You know, you've got an otter fence. There's plenty of fish in here. There's some fisheries you go to, they don't have an otter fence, and they're big, massive expanse of water. Don't get me wrong, it's very wild, and it's very sort of like, you know, rewarding if you catch one and stuff like that. But who wants to sit in a bivvy for 7 days and 7 nights, and you may just get a run or not? Do you know what I'm saying? For me, no. Fishing's just like, you've got to be realistic. You know, that's yeah. So yeah, where was I? Like, sort of fishing these sort of big expanse of bits of water, which has got bugger all protection and not really stocked, just a lot of wild carp sort of thing. I mean, you're just sitting there, just like for 7 days on the trot. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, you've got to be sad. You really have. I mean, I respect the dedication and the effort and all that sort of stuff, but for Christ's sake, why don't you just go somewhere where the fish are in? You know, at the end of the day, you're there to sort of, you know, dear oh dear. I read something on the England Times. There's a chap who fished, he caught a 15-pound bream, beautiful fish, 15-pound bream, but he spent, that was winter time, he spent 7 days, and on the 7th night he got to take off this bream, and he obviously landed it, so to speak, and that's the midst of winter. I mean, respect and all, but I mean, that still ain't worth it. I don't care what anyone says. That ain't worth spending 7 days and 7 nights of your life blanking each day for one bream. I know it's a decent one, but that ain't my thing. I'm sorry. That it just isn't worth it. You think of all the people who do that and they don't catch that bream. This guy caught one, but that ain't. Nah. Like I say, I respect the dedication and all that, and for that sort of stamp of fish, but nah, no. Yeah, so no, so another thing, there was some anglers came down about an hour ago, and they sort of got to where this barbecue thing is here, and I thought they were going to come over and just maybe they were going to get their bivvies out for the night and this, that and the other, and I thought they would just sort of say hello, and they stopped and turned and walked the other way. Now, if they would have just spoken to me and about which swim they want to go to and this, that and the other, I mean, I'm the only person fishing here on the lake, wouldn't you have thought that would make sense just to come over and just have a chat with the angler, see what he says? And I would have said to them, I would have said, well, I've had 6 carp. 2 were probably 20 pounds and the rest are all double figure fish, you know. And it's like, he would have probably gone to his car and he would have probably rigged up right alongside me, that side or this side. And do you know what I'm saying? But the fact that they didn't even speak with me, for me, is a reflection of a lot of carp anglers and a lot of people, where they fall short because they're not taking every opportunity, you know, to suss out what is actually going on. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are just happy just to be fishing, and they're just happy to be with their friend, going bivvy fishing for the night, and they'll work, they don't care, they're just, you know, they'll see what unfolds, and that's fair enough. But there is sort of things which you can, which are there, which can sort of assist you a bit more, you know. Yeah. It's but yeah, it's been quite a good day, I must admit. And these rods have been handling these fish absolutely superbly. They really have. Faultless. I mean, I've even had quite big carp going these reeds and these lilies here, and I've managed to get them out, you know. There's something about these, in a little tight sort of swim like this, there's something about these slightly shorter rods which give you an advantage. I think the big 12-foot rods look a little bit silly in a swim like this, but these rods here, these 10-foot rods, are a lot better. The only thing I would say though is the 12-foot is handy when the carp runs up this way, but still, this being 10-foot, I've managed to stand on this sleeper, railway sleeper, with the rod angled out, and I've still managed to pull them out of it, to get them away from it. So I mean, a lot of carp fishermen, they would say that this sort of place is somewhere where they, you know, used to fish when they were younger and stuff like that. But this is a specimen water, and there's some big carp in here. And yes, that is nice to fish a big, massive, you know, 10-15 acre lake, searching out these wild carp. But you know, you've got to be realistic about, you know, how much time you spend putting in it. You know, it's like, I mean, this is just a day ticket. I mean, you know, it's like after tonight I can go and make some tea, I can go and do my other stuff, and you know, if you're just on the water living there just trying to catch, I mean, that's, I think a lot of people, I mean, I've done it, not quite as long as that, but I think we all sort of do it, and it's just something you sort of go through a phase, and you know. But when my fishing, I look to see what's going to work, what with the conditions and what's available. I look to try and see where can I best maximise my results for the time of year. The day it is, you know, it's Yeah. I have to say though, there's something nice about fishing in the week. It's a lot better to fish in the week, and some anglers even say they don't fish at the weekends. That's fair enough. But there is some places you can go at the weekends and you can still get out of the way. Beach fishing, for example, in the evening, you know, you have the place to yourself. So, do you know what I'm saying? There's things you can do. But it's gone quiet now. But I've had 6 fish. I'm not bothered. I was hoping for a 7th. I've got 29 minutes. I wouldn't rule it out. And it's been a brilliant day. It's been a brilliant day. Whether I go tomorrow or not, I don't know. But what I might do, I might just leave the stuff in the car tonight, with a view that if I do decide to come tomorrow, I can do, while the fishing is hot, so to speak. And if I change my mind, I can sort of get the stuff in later tonight, maybe something like that. But yeah, that would have been quite good sort of fish, really. Okay guys, alright, thanks for watching. I will be back if I've got another one.